Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go over the prologue. So let's get started. The first thing it says to do is to annotate the following and write a paraphrase next to at least every 2 lines of what it seems to mean. So let's start with the first 2 lines. It says, two households both alike in dignity in fair Verona where we lay our scenes. So again, we've got two households alike in dignity in fair Verona. So if we were going to paraphrase these lines, we could say something like, the setting takes place in Verona, where there are two families that have the same social standing. Okay, so the second 2 lines say, from ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. So we have an ancient grudge, new mutiny, okay? Civil blood makes civil hands unclean. Okay, so what we're saying here is really that these families have a long-standing feud that is easily reignited and often results in violence. So that's how we're going to go ahead and paraphrase that here. The next 2 lines say, from forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. So we've got, again, from the fatal loins of these two foes, meaning there's going to be coming from these two families, we have a pair of star-crossed lovers that take their life. Okay, from the fatal loins of these two foes, again, you're going to have something coming from these rival families, but we know what comes from that is that pair of star-crossed lovers. Star-crossed meaning that it's ill-fated, right? It's not meant to be. It was destined to failure from the start. And then it tells us actually the ending of the play here. It says they take their life. So if I am going to paraphrase it, I'm going to say a son and daughter from each rival family fall in love, but their love is ill-fated, and they ultimately commit suicide. So now the next 2 lines say, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. Okay, we've got kind of a difficult phrasing here. So some of the words that I think are kind of confusing are misadventured, piteous, overthrows, and then the rest is kind of simple there. Well, misadventured is really just means unfortunate. Okay, so here would be unfortunate. Piteous, which we learned earlier, means passionate. And then overthrows, that's actually a noun in this case, and it really means just the word defeat. Okay, so if we were to look at that, we're talking about these two star-crossed lovers who have an unfortunate, passionate defeat. And in doing so, it says, with their death, bury their parents' strife, okay, or their parents' conflicts or struggles. Okay, so if I were going to paraphrase that, I would say, well, their unfortunate, passionate defeat results in the end of the rival family's feud. Okay, so again, Shakespeare already in the prologue is basically telling us what's happening, that the star-crossed lovers take their lives, so we know that it's going to end in suicide. We also know that their suicide is what's going to actually end the ancient grudge, the long-standing feud. Okay, so let's move on to the next 2 lines. It says, the fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage. Now, this doesn't make sense until we read the rest of it, so let's actually go on here. Which but their children's end not could remove is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage. Okay, this is one of those examples where Shakespeare is kind of speaking backwards, right? The subject of this sentence is the 2 hours traffic of our stage, okay? So the traffic of our stage is, okay, the fearful passage of their death. So basically, the traffic of the stage, what's going to be happening on stage, what we're going to show you is their death, okay, and their love and death, and the continuance of their parents' rage, okay, and then again, which but their children's end not could remove. Remember, we're talking about how their defeat leads to the end of the parent strife, okay? And so without their children's end, we couldn't have the end of the parents rage. All right, so we're going to actually kind of do these ones together. Those ones are a little bit hard, I think, to do by themselves. So here we have the story of their love that was doomed from the start, and their family's stubbornness ultimately all ends in their lover's deaths, or ultimately ends in the lover's deaths. That's the play you're going to see now. Okay, and the last two lines there, oh, I should show you that, sorry. And the last two lines there is the which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Okay, so if you with patient ears attend, so if you're going to listen, what here shall miss, what I didn't cover here in the prologue, our toil, that's our work, shall strive to mend. Meaning, I'm basically, if you listen carefully, our play will fill in the details that were not shared here in the prologue. Okay, so essentially we've got the setting takes place in Verona. That's where the two families are that have the same social standing. These families have a long-standing feud that is easily reignited and often results in violence. A son and daughter from each rival family fall in love, but their love is ill-fated and they ultimately commit suicide. Their unfortunate, passionate defeat actually results in the end of the rival family's feud. And so the story of their love that was doomed from the start and their family's stubbornness, which ultimately all ends in the lover's death, is the play that you'll see now. And if you listen patiently, our play will fill in the details that were not shared here. Okay, and so now let's move on and look at the questions. Some of them we've already answered, actually. So let's start with what is the setting? Well, in the second line, it says that the setting is Verona. Okay, and just so you know, that is kind of like a city in Italy. Okay, and the second question says, what is the relationship between, between the two households? They are at odds. Okay, they are rival families. There's a feud between the two. Okay, it also does say that they are of the same dignity, so same status. Okay. Number 3 says, what does it mean to be star-crossed? It's something we've kind of talked about already, but basically ill-fated. And kind of doomed from the start. What does the chorus mean in the last two lines? What I could just say is just listen carefully and we'll fill in the details. What is the subject matter of the play? Well, you've got two lovers. They commit suicide. Basically end their family's feud. Okay, so I got those questions done. Now, hopefully you guys were able to do that. Use your intro notes to help you answer the following. Well, like I said, I do hope this was kind of easy for you, especially after all the intro we've done with that. But it says how many lines? Well, we know this is a Shakespearean sonnet. If you really wanted to, you could count them. But I can tell you right now there's 14 because that's how many are in a Shakespearean sonnet. It says mark the rhyme pattern using capital letters at the end of each line. Okay? At the end of each line, remember, dignity, that's A. Mutiny, A. Okay, but seen is B. Unclean. So we've got dignity, mutiny, seen, unclean. A, B, A, B. Here, I've got foes. Okay, and the line that matches that or rhymes with that is overthrows. So there's C. Okay. And then we have D, which is a new rhyme. That's their life, which rhymes with strife. So A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Here we have love, which is an inexact rhyme with remove. Okay, love, remove. So I'm going to mark that there. And then rage, F, and stage. Okay, so love, remove, rage, stage, EF, EF. And then the last two, attend and mend, those are both together, that's GG. So overall we have AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. Okay, and then it says, given the details above, what poetic form is the prologue called? It is a sonnet. Okay, in particular, Shakespearean sonnet. It says, mark the rhythm pattern, both stressed and unstressed, on the last two lines. If I were to do that on the last two lines, it would look like, okay, the which, if you, with patient ears attend. Remember that unstressed would be that little kind of half circle almost, okay? And then the stressed lines would be kind of like the accent. Here I'm going to mark it underneath, but what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Okay? Notice too, if I were to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So those are 10 syllables in the line. In total, we have 5 iambs. Okay, let's see. Right there, right? So the which, 1 iamb. If you, 2 iamb. With pay, 3 iamb. Shent ears, 4 iambs. And then attend, that's another iamb. So that's again why it's called iambic pentameter, which is the last thing. So that's what we're going to write in. Iambic pentameter. And that's it. So there's the prologue. Hopefully it all makes sense and that you were able to mark it properly.